Well, thanks everybody for coming. I'm going to do a quick introduction of myself again. For those who don't know me that well, my name is Jordan Gibby. I've hopefully met everybody in the room. But I've been working in video production for about 12-ish years. I've worked with a lot of you actually in different projects, which is really cool. I've always been focused on trying to improve the quality of the expectations of the client. And I treated myself as the client the past few months. Say, what are my expectations with this technology we're using? I want people to know that even people who are using all these high technical tools still have to learn them, right? And AI is super technical and also super easy if you know how to use it right. And I use an analogy I'm going to tell everybody here as this turns on. If you have a bunch of change sitting on the table, like a bunch of coins, right? And you've been collecting change in a jar for like a year. Can you guess how much change is in the jar reliably? Probably not. But if you practice guessing change in the jar, could you get closer to guessing the amount of change in the jar?
Yes.
Correct, always, always. So we know this better than anybody. The more you practice, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone write that down. The more we practice how to use these tools, the easier they get. Now it's going to come in. It's a nice screen.
Yep.
I just have to keep using it. So that's what I want to emphasize here is some things you can practice, okay? Another analogy I'll make with the change jar, okay, is when you dump all the change out and it's all in front of you, it's even easier to count, but it can feel chaotic, okay? So we need organization. We need to use these tools in a way that doesn't create more chaos, because the worst part of having a bunch of loose change is it's loose change. Having a bunch of tools spread out everywhere is the worst. With makeup, I'm imagining it's the same. You have everything organized, I'm sure? I'm assuming a lot right now. Okay. There we go. See? And that's the whole course, guys. Okay. Before I play, actually I'm going to show you what I'm going to show you. Okay, so now that I've got all these analogies out of the way, loose change, count it, use it better. AI does this already. It takes the loose change and dumps it into a machine and sorts it into stacks. That's what it's doing. That's what large language models are, is sorting tokens, coins, into stacks of usable tokens. And you can count them out and get answers. I need $1.25, super fast. If I'm shuffling around in a bunch of data, it doesn't work. So when it comes to creative processes, we have to respect that there's a process that you can create that'll make you the best at what you do. If you don't follow a process, you will never get the result again, okay? We all know this. I'm just saying what we all know. Let me show you what the end result is. And this is also something where I was the talent, so judge accordingly. But that's just who I was in this. So yeah, we've all done that. So this was the finished product. So I'll reverse engineer how we did this. Okay, so this is the magic trick. And just be aware, there's the triangle of good, fast, cheap, fast, good. Yes. This is 2 of them. I'll get out of the way.
Jessica just celebrated working 15 years as a dental hygienist at a small family dental office. She knew where everything was and how to keep the day moving. Her favorite part of the job was working with the kids. She always got to make sure they got to pick out a toy at the end of their visits. One afternoon, Jessica was rushing between patients, and a newer employee she was training had moved the sharps container. Frustrated and behind, she quickly recapped the needle using both hands. She felt a prick on her index finger. Pulling the glove off, she saw a tiny red dot of blood start to form. She quickly washed her hands and then ran to help the next patient. By the end of the busy day, she had completely forgotten that the event even happened. Over the next few months, Jessica started to feel constantly exhausted. She figured the 15 years must have just finally caught up with her. One morning, however, when she was getting ready, she noticed the whites of her eyes were turning yellow. And then she suddenly remembered the needle. She went to the doctor that same day. They ran blood work, and before she even got home, they called. Jessica had acute hepatitis, and her liver was failing. She eventually had to stop working and required ongoing medical care because of the single rush decision she made. What pressure in your workplace makes people rush when they shouldn't?
That's the end. So
That was a real story, right?
thank you. This is a real story. I changed the names. I changed a lot of things to keep people's names protected. But that was a real workplace that had happened at, and they wanted to tell people, and they would just tell the story over and over and over and over. And the request I got was, how can we make this better for our younger workers? It's under a minute. It's visually stimulating, and it's direct. There's no wasted time, and exactly, it's vertical. My least favorite thing is vertical video. So I'm sitting there going, okay, we'll make this vertical video thing for you. And the first one was not that good. That's like the 20th one I've made for this client. And they love them. They use them in their trainings, and the whole point is to get their employees to be safer. So if the goal you have in mind is to sort the change better, whatever that number is you're trying to capture for your client, that's what we're trying to solve. So don't think of just safety trainings with this. Think of what you do, okay? With AI workflow, I just want to do the first phase. So the first thing about AI workflows is there's a ton of tools out there. We're just going to count out a couple quarters here and a couple dimes, all right? Just a couple things simply. And if you have any questions, please stop me because I get on a rant, okay? First thing is, this is always my first step before AI existed. See this giant wall of text? This is how I capture the information to edit. When I sit down with anyone, I say, hey, can I record, after I've gotten to know them, some audio? And that's for me to learn and know what's happening. Then I would transcribe the audio. I did this for like 10 years. I would just record the audio and listen back to what they wanted during the first meeting with them. And that gave me actual notes of what they were trying to say. I'm interviewing the client, asking them what they want. You can interview yourself with AI if you just ramble long enough, right? If you just say, what do I want? What do I want? If you keep asking yourself the question, eventually you'll find something in there. That's step one, is just get it out. I use just my phone recorder and record it. I've started using other tools that are more efficient, but use what you have. Doesn't matter.
What tool do you use?
Mac Whisper. So Mac Whisper is this app down here. Right there. Huh? That's the one I'm using. Wait, where is it?
It's all over the place, 'cause it's all over
Yeah.
the place.
Yeah. Mac Whisper is the one I use because I can just talk to my computer mic. It's awesome. It works on your phone too. Just get all your ideas out and to transcribe text, because this is the data. You're extracting it out of your meat brain, okay? It's very valuable. You've been training it for a long time, okay? Number two is organizing with a large language model. This is a bunch of change over here. Let's organize it into cohesive stacks of coins, okay? These have been tokenized. These have been made so it's organized so you can read it. This may not be exactly what you want, but it's organized. All the money's there. Perfect, right? Third step, I made this a Microsoft Word because I like it. Sue me, right? I love being able to sit down in an old word processing unit and think like an old word processing person. So I become an old man, put on my glasses, and I write it out manually while saying it out loud. Because think about it, you're going to say it out loud on video. So write it and speak it. Every single line spoken at least 3 or 4 times, and then I edit it as I go. That gives me the most raw, gut reaction version of the script. This script came out of me watching a story that happened from a person's perspective, retelling it myself in the car into a voice memo app, then transcribing it, putting it into ChatGPT, in this case, and then humanizing the script with my own personal voice. It's really easy, 3 steps, boom, boom, boom. You can do this and only this and walk away with better videos, I promise. Because it works for me every time, and I'm not that good. So the next step, any questions on that, by the way?
So when you record it and you go through and have it transcribed, do you read the transcription or do you literally just copy, paste it to chat?
I copy all this over and paste it.
Okay, and then say simplify it.
I said, give me the gist. Any prompt you use that's simple, like, what did I say? You'll spit it out. And then you can do your like massaging the text, which is something like, can you make it more specific for just the accident? And then it might tell it in like order. And I'm like, can you make it so she's actually human? I didn't know if she liked kids. It's fictional. I don't know if that's true. But it made you care more about her getting hurt, right? So like it made the story feel more important. That's what directors do in film sets. Act this way even though they didn't actually act this way.
I would like to use part of the prompt, treat me like I'm a ...
Yeah.
And it helps a lot.
Treat me like I'm an employee. Or treat me like I'm an idiot, in my case.
It's a fair thing to put in there and explain your videos because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll say, like,
Yeah.
voice it as if it's this actress. Like,
Really?
yeah, because if you say it like that and then they can actually make it that, like, oh, this person's like famous right now, like, put it
Yeah.
in their language, depending on who your audience is.
So voice it like an actress, someone that has a lot of data on.
Yeah.
Someone that's trained a lot on.
Yeah, so
That's
literally
smart.
I go, this is my
Yeah.
audience, this is the voice I want it as,
Oh,
and
yeah.
whether it's woman, man, whatever it is, and then go from there.
So you're saying audience, voice, and then storytelling. Perfect. And it
Is Morgan Freeman.
always Morgan Freeman. Little did he know. Yeah. So that's basically what I'm trying to do. Is my audience is safety, but if your audience is a specific audience, teenage girls. Let's say you're trying to market to them.
Who's famous right now? I don't, you know.
Yeah. And then you have Sydney Sweeney telling it.
There you go.
Perfect. This process alone has been helpful for me for a long time. It just makes it faster. It doesn't change the actual steps to get there. The process of discovery hasn't changed. You're just using tools to get there. It's like the mailman driving a car versus riding a horse to deliver mail, you know. Okay, so the next step, visual planning. How do I get from the script to images? There's a gap there. Like every client's like, I want more, I want it better, I want cinema. But actually they're not asking for that. They're asking for you to create a story that's succinct and clear, okay? Is anyone confused about how she got sick? Hopefully not, right? That's not a coincidence, that's intentional. And I was reading to my son, he's about 3, turning 4 soon. We had a picture book up, how to go to the potty. I was turning the pages, and every page I was like, now this makes sense. You know, you pee in the potty, I get it. And it's showing the visuals of what to do, where to go, and that superheroes do it too. With visual storytelling, you need to guide that person to your goal, if it's to do something simple, okay? And from that, in that moment, I was like, storybook telling, picture books, boom. That's gonna solve it because no one hates a picture book. I still like them, and I'm an adult. So that's assuming a lot about our groups that we're talking to. So what I do is I say, hey, I have this prompt that was happened back here in this slide, this one right here. Can you turn this into a picture book that's enough images to explain it, enough pages? And I found that a minute-long script for me is about 23 to 26 images. That's how many images I'm showing to tell the story, okay? No longer than 3 seconds on a clip, constantly moving to keep their engagement high, right? So it organizes it into scenes. I say, make me all the scenes so I can see visually, I can read down what is happening. And this is nice, because it's like taking your original script, not changing it. And you can do this for storyboarding, for anything you want to do. This is AI assisting you creating the process of discovery of what scenes you want, okay? And you could even use the same process of discovery as make it like a Dr. Seuss book. Make it like so-and-so's film. Whatever you want, you can use that as a guide.
I do explain it like I'm 5, because then it simplifies it, because the general audience I've noticed in America is like 5 years old.
Yeah, it's true. And remember, we're functioning at a higher level on the creation side. We're not geniuses, but we're creatively trained. And we're doing it at a high level, and that's what they're asking from us, is to do it better than they can. That's why we're hired. That's why we're doing it. The big question mark, how do I bridge the gap from the text to the visuals? This is where everyone's gonna be like, all right, how are you doing this, Jordan? What's the secret sauce? What is it? I'll show you. Mood board. All I did was find a few artists I liked the drawing styles of for this style that was gentle enough to tell a story and not too obtrusive or obstructive to tell the story. You can use visual aids of any kind. This is a mood board. I drew this one in like Photoshop, like traced it with my hand on like an iPad to get like hand-drawn stuff. And then I used that to make this one, iterated. This is all iteration. There's probably like 50 images that I created to get to this mood board. So I just kept trying for like a whole day. I was like,
You were drawing them? Is that what you were saying?
I would trace them on my iPad, and then I would
Other images that existed.
to get them more real to my hand and the way I would do it. Then I would like even like do it on paper and like add it just to get more of me in there, right? So the more of you that's in there is called human in the loop. And human in the loop means you're the one sorting the coins. You're the one creating the decisions of how much happens. Each of these is an assortment of coins, tokens for the AI. It doesn't care, but you have to care. So this is what I cared about, was this type of line drawing style, and that's what it gives me when I use the prompt. Now the next question is, how do you get a prompt from to this, to create this? This is a result of me asking the chatbot to describe what these look like. I said, pretend you're an artist and describe to me how you draw these. And it gave me this. It was one prompt, and that was it. That's all I use for all those videos. I've done it for 22 videos. Same prompt. Haven't changed it. Don't need to. If I do change it, it's just to improve the consistency. These are all what I call positive prompts. I have a negative prompt as well, which says what not to do. It's like a monkey's paw situation. Like, do not add, these things. It always wants to make people look weird or something. So that's what I need to do. And then once I get there, I create a character style guide for each video. Yes?
So with you doing your drawing, did you insert that because you said you wanted your print on it, the human in the loop? Or is there everybody's like suing everybody else with AI. Is that intentional so that there's no possibility of that?
That wasn't the reason I was doing it, but that's a good reason to do it. The reason I was doing it is because when you give AI images that are AI images, it starts to like fragment and create more noise. And then you'll have like fringing on every single line that's got this like JPEG artifact fringe. It's like a weird blobby ghost. And if you zoom in enough, you'll start seeing the fringiness on everything. You're like, this is all weird. The fastest way to get rid of it was just to draw it again. And the fringing was gone. And I just scanned it into my scanner and it was done, right? And I wanted it to be as high quality as possible so it could be as low quality as possible. And like in audio, this is an analogy, you want to start loud so you can make things quiet, right? With video, you want to start big so you can make things small, right? The bigger and better something is, or exact something is, the more loose you can be with it after the fact, okay? Any other questions about that? So I kind of breezed through that right there.
I mean, say you have a client that's like, I really like Studio Ghibli, can you make it like that? What would you tell them?
You know, if they're like naming names, dropping names for certain things, I would guide them in a path of discovery of why they like it. I would ask them, in that initial phase, I would go back to here. I would stop the visual development. I would go, actually, let's uncover why you like it. Is it because it's surreal? Is it because you grew up watching them and you like the nostalgia? What is it that's making you drawn to that style besides it being popular? And if it's just because it's popular, it's going to be a waste of money because it won't be evergreen. And that's always the case. If a client's like, I like it because it's really trendy. Let's do the ice bucket challenge today. Yeah, you want, and I'm trying to protect the client from themselves because they'll want the trendiest, nicest Studio Ghibli, which is already out of fashion, right? But if I focus on that style for these would be out of fashion. So also putting your own hand in there is you don't go out of fashion. You're still you for the next 30, 40, 50, hopefully 60 years.
Even that prompt you said that a second ago that you used to like define the style could be good for that. I've done that before where I've fed it an image and I've been like, describe this for me.
Yeah.
Then I have the words to actually describe it and help them describe it. And then we can move forward with the words as a style, not as studio, whatever, as, you know what I mean?
And this is the metaphor once again is you're just pulling coins out of the organized stacks and creating a certain dollar amount to hand to the client and say, this is probably what you want, is this much. And if you make it too complex, you can't get to where they want to either. So whenever you're getting into like a railroad situation like that one, just step back. You don't have to push through it. Like step back and go, I understand. I think what you really want is something that's unique or new, right? Let's find something new together then. And if they don't want new, like no. I want Studio Ghibli. Then you may have to find a path there that's safe for you. And I can't say what that is, but no one knows. So I would steer away from the unknowns and try to keep it in the known space, just as my own personal advice. Any more questions there, by the way? That's an important part. Next part is, when I'm creating the story, I have all the characters' names I've said in the initial script. I want these characters to be real to a degree. So I go through and I ask it to draw these characters, and I spend probably 25, 30 minutes to get each character where I want it. I just go into the image generation tool of my choice, which was ChatGPT for these, but it can be any. It can be Nano Banana from Google. That's going to change tomorrow probably. Anything that you can make an image in, see how well it works. Okay? If you don't like it, then pivot. Okay? Use the same prompts. So I'm making all these prompts for these in Notepad once again. The same process I did for discovery, I'm doing for the characters. Okay? I'm saying it, getting the concise script, writing it down, and then putting it in. So it matches what I want. And this is all very controlled. Like, Jordan, this takes a lot of freaking time. It does. It takes about a day to get to all the images made that I want. It takes you 1 day to make images, 1 day to edit them. Okay? So it's 2 days.
The sample of how you'd prompt.
This?
Yeah, what would you kind of use?
Yeah, so let's say I'm trying to get this guy. And he's the guy who's creating trouble for one of these videos. Okay? I need a man that's in his mid-40s, and I start with the visual appearance. Balding, retiring in about 10 years, quirky, funny, slightly overweight, Caucasian, safety glasses, and this type of outfit, and I'll use a screenshot of some kind of clothing, right? And then I'll say, use this prompt to draw this by hand. Put it in there, enter. It took about 6 or 7 times to try, and it'd be like he had like too big of a nose or something, so like make the nose smaller, and then it'd make a new one. By the 4th or 5th time, it started hallucinating. So I'd be like, okay, I got to restart, and then sort of fresh chat and go again. So you don't want to push it too far. Because when you start fighting the AI, I call it a crocodile wrestling match, because it's going to start turning on you, and it's going to get away from you really fast. So when you're prompting, just try to be gentle enough that it's not getting too confused, because it's like a 5-year-old. It's not going to know past like 3 or 4 steps, okay? These AI chatbots are really not smart.
And then to get the consistency,
Yeah.
it's all within the style you've given it.
So yeah, and then this I use also to reprompt character development, because I have a prompt for this that I use the same process. And look, this process right here is super powerful. This is like the cycle of creative juice, right? You don't have to think everything at once, but this right here, having the clear line of sight to what you want, this right here is the prompt. That's like and everyone's trying to buy these from me, by the way. I had a client ask, hey, can I buy your prompt for these videos? I said, look, if I had a prompt for these videos, I would love to have it because I could just hit submit and it would make the video. It doesn't work that way because that's just, how many decisions have we made so far? Like 30? We're technically on decision 6, but there's like 22 decisions and each one has like 5 variations of that. So it's so far removed from where it can reach right now, it's not possible.